Meeting, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Council need approval of agenda with addition of Class B retail alcohol license, Lake Time Brewery, which is a renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deb, second by Tony. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries. Moving on, item 3, approval of the consent agenda, including the following. Approval of City Council meeting minutes of February 9th, workshops. February 17th, regular meeting. B, approval of the bills and claims, of which you have a copy. C, approval of Resolution 26-05, a resolution setting the time and place to conduct a public hearing to consider the vacation of certain street right-of-way in the city of Clear Lake, Iowa. D, approval of Resolution 26-06, a resolution setting the date for a public hearing for the disposal of city-owned property. E, approval of tax abatement application of Andrew Beersford, 1013 Nash Court. F, approval of first due software contract for the Clear Lake Fire Department. G, the following licenses and permits. Liquor license, Class E retail alcohol license, Randy's Neighborhood Market. Special Class C retail alcohol license, Oak Hills Par 30. Class C retail alcohol license, Tapped Tap House. Class C retail alcohol license, Rookies. Those are renewals.
Plus this one.
Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Tony, second by Beth Ann. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, citizens' opportunity to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. In accordance with the rules of procedure and Iowa Open Meetings Law, no action or discussion can occur on items presented during the forum. Please walk to the lectern, state your name, first and last, address, and subject of your discussion so the clerk may enter it in the minutes. And please keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes.
To the lectern. I'm Brian Drake. I have the property at 2011 South Shore Drive, which is next to a city approach, which you have, which is 20th Street. So I just want to make a few comments on that. I'm going to hand out a few documents. I didn't realize there'd be so many here. This first one, if you just hand it down. This is a,
We can share.
We can share.
well, there's 7 of them, so. That is the copy of a dock permit presented by the city, which on that piece of paper, it looks pretty good. But when you put it to pencil and back into the approach where our current docks sit and the one on the south side of the approach also, which we're on the north side, it starts to become a little less attractive in my mind, according to that. And so this is, we had somebody that is a software engineer overlay that satellite image of the thing. You can tell where our docks are on that. Also, I'll wait for it to get all the way down there. You can see the last boat hoist in there. There's 2 lines. That's just my pencil scratching. That is what, you can see it on the thing, but that's what whoever drew the city's application in, that is what they were using as the dimensions for a hoist. The hoist dimensions we're using are the hoist dimensions of ours. So that'd be more realistic. So it starts to become very tight in there. I know when we were at the Park and Recs meeting the other day, when they voted it to move onward and upward, they said that this dock would allow people to use it, but in our minds, you sit there and look at that as far use the approach. In our minds, the approach basically gets shut down at this point. It was also said that the barges, because this access, unbeknownst to, it seems like a lot of people, gets a lot of use. It's not your super huge boats, a lot of wave runners, smaller sailboats, and then fishing boats. I've seen pontoon boats go in and out of there. It's always fun to watch, but it does get used. It takes some of the load, alleviates the load off of other places, and so we kind of think that if this dock would go in, it would shut down that activity completely. The barges that put in the hoists and docks and other stuff also use this because it does allow them to put the hoist off the street in a nice place, and then they come in and pick it up from there. So it does get used a lot more than most people think about. And then in listening to the Park and Recs the other day, trying to understand what their issue is. There's a dock this dock supposedly exists over on Beach Street. Am I saying that correctly? By the surf, trying to clean that up a little bit for the expansion that's happening or the growth that's happening there. As that's happening, you're trying to satisfy some people on this dock that are already there, that are on this dock list that exists out there. Of the 5, I don't know how many are on that dock originally, only 2 are left to find a home. And so we're dealing with 2 people and then an additional 4 in this design drawing to get some more drawn off of this dock list that we're talking about. With that in mind, I would propose you look at another location. I do know that we're 60 feet right away. The city controls in that street 60 feet. We're 30-foot lots. We're tight anyway. And we have to take our docks down the middle, DNR regulations, and by the time you put a boat hoist off to the side of a dock, it's wide. You're already burning into it. And so if you can get anywhere else where there's wider lots, because both on the north and the south, it's 30-foot lots. I know at one of the streets up at at 17th Street, we're 90 feet between the docks. They're 123 feet between the docks, which allows more space. The other thing that we keep looking at going, hey, here's an opportunity, and I don't want to stir any big pots, but you guys control about 1,000 foot of shoreline on the north shore. Right now there's docks that hold 4 hoists on there. We just overlaid, what if you started putting that dock that's proposed in there? You would all of a sudden create more opportunity to take boats off of that list, decrease the list by, 1,000 foot of shoreline. Technically, you can have 100 boats, 10 foot a boat. But this becomes more open area to allow you to do something. I'm not saying it's the right way, the only way. I'm just saying it is a way. And we just said, well, what if you took and created this dock here? Now all of a sudden you could potentially get another, we had it calculated like 50 more boats off that list. So that's because we're not voting or talking about anything. I think that's about all I have to say. We are opposed to it. That's the final thing. So, okay, thank you.
We'll take it under advisement. Anyone else?
My name is Megan O'Brien. I reside at 500 Pine Brook Drive. My parents, Steve and Trina Brewer, reside at 2017 South Lakeview Drive. I apologize for the repetition, but I'm also speaking on the topic of the 20 Ave South dock proposal. So I attended the Parks and Recreation Board meeting last week, and they are moving forward with a recommendation for a dock at 20th Ave South. This is due to a dock being removed from Beach Drive due to the ongoing Surf District plans. This dock had 5 hoists. The city is wanting to find an alternative location for these displaced renters. Currently, 3 of the 5 have already found slips elsewhere. The current proposal is for 6 hoists and a 180-foot dock. The proposal shows that the current approach will remain functional, which is not realistic. The proposal is not to scale, and Brian did show our actual to scale drawings. And this configuration will show that 1, it will shut down the approach, 2, it cannot fit all of the hoists as pictured on the original proposal. The previous dock placement at Beach Drive was next to much larger lots with Redstone offsetting their dock all the way to the east. You simply cannot just compare city-owned shorelines in the 2 locations. March 22nd, 2022, the Parks and Recreation Board proposed at a city work session a public dock going down the center of this 20th Ave South approach with 4 slips, taking 4 names off of that city list. In the end, just 1 council member made a motion to add it to the agenda, while others, including Mayor Ebling and Mr. Smith, declined, citing concerns about space and restricted access. We met with the DNR at 20th Ave South this weekend to review the current proposal. The proposed 180-foot dock length assumes the 3-foot water depth mark is at 100 feet, and we challenge that. We believe this 3-foot depth occurs much closer to shore, which makes a 180-foot dock not feasible. Per the DNR, the final determination will need to be made once the ice is out. Additionally, the current drawing shows the end hoist extending beyond that 180-foot dock length. Addressing these issues now is in everyone's best interest. The city needs an accurate understanding of what spaces will actually be available rather than committing to renters and later having to remove them and pay for reconfiguration of the dock and hoist. Scaled drawings clearly show how current usage of this access will be greatly restricted. That being said, why allow a large offset to center line? A center dock with maybe 2 to 3 boats would be more manageable and a compromise. There are also other locations that could still be considered. The goal should be to balance access, safety, and overall community benefit with this current proposal, which this current proposal goes against. Dock and hoist contractors, construction crews, and small watercraft regularly use this access point. I urge the council to review the current proposal before making a decision to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Moving on to unfinished business, we have none. Item 6, new business, Guitar Park Cat Grant application. Steve Deere, City Administrator.
Mayor and Council. Tonight, item 6A on our agenda is the agreement with Planscape Partners to help write and develop and propose the Community Area and Attraction and Tourism Grant, CAT grant, for what would be the Dueling Guitars project. And so this project is something that we've talked a little bit about before. It's basically taking our portion of like the street work around the new hotel project, the plaza work, and the overhead guitar you see from the air and that's the one guitar. The other guitar would be what the Surf and Chelsea Snyder's been proposing, the 35-foot tall Stratocaster that would go outside of the old MEC building. And so that would be the world's largest Stratocaster. And so this CAT grant would be a mechanism to help fund both of those pieces of that project. So we're waiting for official announcement from the county on any participation level that they might put forward to help with us on this grant application. That total project is $1.772 million in total. 1.3 is our commitment to the infrastructure and 7.3 realignment. So that's 1.3 of that 1.772. Tonight we're looking to approve the agreement with Ron Fiskus and Planscape Partners to help write that CAT grant. So we want to get this in place. That way when we get go ahead from the county, we can hit the ground running on the application. Application has no set due date. It's an open application. They review applications on a quarterly basis. And so once we get that in, we can find out what we might be able to accomplish through funding. They'll pay up to 20% for a grant on this, and so that'd help take a good chunk of our costs off of what we're already committed to. So, any questions?
Council, any questions?
Yeah, so if the CAT grant is total flop and failure, then are we on the hook for all of, so we're at 9,500 here with the proposal tonight. I guess I'm a little confused with so we have what is known now as 3 Stars Plaza, and that will be modified according with the drawings that we've seen, but this Stratocaster, I'm not familiar with that. So are we helping fund that as well, or that's the CAT grant is the mechanism specifically for that and the Three Stars Plaza?
It's for the entire thing.
Okay.
So we have 1.3.
Right.
250 we're sharing with the developer on that project. But we have 1.3 as our end on it. The difference is the guitar, the storyboard part that they wanted to put through there, and then highway signage for it as well. So the 20% would be applied on a prorated percentage basis to our portion of the project and their portion of the project. If we don't get the CAT grant, then we're looking really at a larger amount that would have to be fundraised for the vertical guitar and all those things as well.
And by working with the county, that it's instrumental in possibly being successful with the CAT grant, is that my understanding?
Absolutely. Yeah, the county has to participate in a CAT grant application. That level is pretty wide as far as how much they can commit, and so we're asking for a sizable commitment, and they're considering that right now.
Okay. And when do we expect a decision from them, possibly after their next meeting?
We should hear in the next week, 2 weeks at most, I think, from the county.
Okay. Thank you.
Steve, thank you. So just to add to Tony's question, so if I'm understanding you correctly, and I think I am, that there's no additional cost to the city relative to the development agreement that we signed on this project.
That's absolutely correct.
Right.
This
And
is
so-
all just going to be gravy to help take down our costs from what
Yeah.
we've already committed to.
Yeah. And let me thank our county supervisors for their consideration and participation in this process, because I think that makes a real difference when we have multiple public entities to combine with private investment. I'd say the same for the state and so on. So pretty exciting. But as Tony, I think, very astutely pointed out, if we for some reason would not get the CAT grant, then they're looking at private fundraising to do that. The city would not be on the hook for
Right,
doing that.
and nothing in here speaks to that. This is just
Yeah.
this is just for the grant application.
Absolutely,
itself.
yeah. But I just wanted to clarify for the public's knowledge on that. And it's a wonderful project. We're looking forward to moving forward with it. But I think just highlighting that's important.
Yeah,
So
we haven't been asked to participate in
Yeah.
that cost at all.
yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. So I need a motion to approve the professional services agreement proposal with Planscape Partners by the city council. Motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Tony, seconded by Bennett. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Same sign, motion carries. Moving on, item B, fiscal year 2026 budget amendment review. Jacob Woodman, Director of Finance Administrative Services.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight we'll be going through the budget amendment. I know that sheet didn't make it into your packet. It was in last council packet. Also got published in the paper, and then I provide you guys with a copy of it too. So we have just the basic resolution is in your packet approving the budget amendment, and then just actually looking at that budget amendment sheet a little bit. So tonight we'll be holding the hearing on the budget amendment. I think the important thing to note here is there's no increase in taxes on this budget amendment. We're just amending to kind of look at how the year has been, if we've had additional revenue sources to cover some additional expenses, or kind of timing of projects always kind of plays into the budget amendment a little bit. So I'll kind of walk through the budget amendment a little bit, highlight a few of the bigger items for you guys. So in that sheet, your left-hand column is our original certified budget. We have the current amendment in the middle column, and then the far right-hand column is what the amended amount will be. So the certified budget amendment, that was our original budget. This is one amendment that we're doing. That's our normal practice, is to do one amendment a year, kind of as we're going through our new budget process. So for the current amendment amount, starting with the top there with the revenues, you'll see the first kind of bigger dollar amount there under other city taxes is a $100,000 current amendment in the positive. That is for utility franchise fees. We did not have that included in the original budget, but if you guys recall, when we redid Alliance franchise agreement last year, We added in franchise fees, of 1% to replace the local option sales tax. So there was no impact to the citizens of Clear Lake, but it did have an impact of where it shows up on our budget. So that's what that amount is there. Going down, the next item under intergovernmental is a negative 608,345. That has to do with timing of the Destination Iowa grant proceeds. We were able to receive a little bit more of those in last fiscal year 25, and so that's why we're reducing this down. That just is reducing our total down to what we're going to receive underneath the Destination Iowa grant. Next item down then, kind of in a significant amount, is the miscellaneous item. There's quite a bit of stuff that gets thrown underneath that item. Donations, insurance proceeds, those were the biggest two changes under there. So that is a positive 298,500, and like I said, the biggest things related to that were insurance proceeds and some increase in donations for different projects we have going on. So on the revenue side then, the current amendment net increases is $726,150, getting us to a budget amended amount of revenues and other sources of revenues of just over 23 million. On the expense side then, looking at expenditures under public safety, just over 67,000 there on an amendment. Most of that had to do with a lightning strike that we had here and equipment that we had to replace, and so there's insurance proceeds to offset a lot of that. Next item down, Public Works, amending that up 167. Once again, the largest change there, we had a couple of things that we pulled out, but the largest increase there was a loader that we had to replace, and once again, that was another insurance claim. Next item down then, culture and recreation, an increase of 143,600. There's several things that go into that. Some of the larger items was parks. We did add a full-time position part of the way through the year. Council approved that. When we originally budgeted, we had budgeted for a part-time position. We had posted for that. We didn't get any good applicants, and so then council had approved moving that to full-time, and so that impacted the budget a little bit. We amended up a little bit for that. We're also taking over the Little League program, and so that's about half of that number there is for the Little League and what we're doing out there. And there is revenue on the revenue side to offset some of that cost there as well. Under community and economic development, that one we always kind of put a little number in for economic development grants and different things. That ended up being a little bit higher than what we had budgeted, and so that's the difference there. The real big item then under capital projects is $2,015,000 increase. That is for, once again, surf district projects. We were anticipating expending a little bit more in 25 that got carried over into 26, and so that's the biggest change of why it's a big jump from where it had been. Under business type and enterprise, 122,560 increase. The biggest chunk of that was for our East Main Avenue water and sewer extensions, which was something that we hadn't really budgeted for, but it's a very good project for the community, and working with the developer down there to save us some costs. So I think it made a lot of sense for us to move forward with that, and I think that was well spent money on the city's behalf. So total expenditures and transfers out then is an increase of $3,465,352, which brings total expenditures to $25,509,000 and $9,013. Sorry, a little tongue tie there. So then the net budget change is a negative almost $2.5 million there, and kind of as I'd walked through it, the biggest portion of that was surf district stuff and kind of the timing of that with that big project going on and how it hit last fiscal year. And we might see some of that with fiscal year 26 if some of it gets pushed into 27. Hopefully we'll have everything wrapped up by the end of this fiscal year, but if something were to get pushed into 27, it will adjust those numbers. And I think if you look down, the bottom two lines are the fund balances. So our beginning fund balance as of July 1 of 25, when we originally budgeted, we had budgeted for just about 41 million in that. When we had our actual 25 numbers come back after the audit and everything and the timing, I know I've talked a lot about timing in this, but we actually were 4,376,000 to the positive on that, just to do with timing, and it speaks to that. So overall, we have projected in our original budget of an ending fund balance of 41,208,000, and after the budget amendment and adjusting that original fund balance, we're projecting that at the end of this fiscal year, we'll be at 42,845,000. So an actual increase there, even though the budget amendment is an increase in expenditures. So I know that's a lot of numbers to throw at you and kind of going through them pretty quickly, but I'll take any questions if you have any questions, and hopefully that kind of explains what we're doing here tonight.
Thanks, Jacob. Questions, council?
Yeah, real quick, Jacob, thank you so much for the explanation,
Yep.
because it can be a little confusing. But as I understood what you said, most of these are kind of normal adjustments that we make, whether it's on the revenue side or the expenditure side. The one there that you explained, the really big one, just so the public understands, sounds like that's an accounting and budget timing issue. It's not an additional
Right.
2 million that we're adding to the budget. Would you say that's an
Correct. Yeah,
accurate
that is an
description?
accurate representation,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally timing.
Yeah. And that oftentimes we have to do that and how you manage that budget, and so we appreciate how you
Yeah.
manage these things.
And a lot of times when you have these big projects going on, it's
Yeah.
just really hard from the budget and when you lay out the budget to when you're actually doing the project and getting that timing exactly right. And then our budget falls in the middle of the summer, which is right when work is going on. And if you have a wet spring, it can push it back, so then it gets into next fiscal year. And so timing is everything with it.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate your work on it and the other members of our staff. I think overall, I'm very proud of the job that Clear Lake does with our budgeting practices and how we manage our finances. So thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
And to reiterate, I think moral of the story is no levy increase, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Jacob? So I'll open the public hearing on proposal fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. All right. Not a whole lot of excitement on that. Council, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Bennett, second by Beth Ann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Same sign, motion carries. Council, any further discussion? All right, so I'll need a motion to approve Resolution 26-07, a resolution adopting fiscal year 2026 budget amendment.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Beth Ann, seconded by Deb. Roll call, Bennett,
Yes.
Beth Ann,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Deb.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on, North Iowa Area Council of Government presentation, introduction, Steve Deers.
Yes, so tonight we're going to see a brief presentation from our North Iowa Council of Governments, NIACOG. During our budget process this year, we had some questions that came up on, what NIACOG is, the transit program, how that all comes together. And so I thought this would be a great time to invite Myrtle and her staff to come in and talk about NIACOG. What is their role as a council of government in our region, and how does the transit system kind of work in our community? And so I'll invite Myrtle to come on up. Welcome.
Thanks, Steve.
You bet.
Myrtle?
Well, thanks, Mark. And I'm not here for insurance, but appreciate the opportunity. Okay, so I put together a little bit of a slide presentation as, thank you, Zach, for passing that out. Zach Harris is our Transit Operations Manager for NIACOG. And anyway, so I wanted to give you a feel for what you get for your money when you talk about NIACOG. And so I should back up a little bit. What is NIACOG first, right? So you'll see on that the bottom of the first page that we're a government agency, and this is the area that we serve. We do have 8 counties and 67 cities, and because we're a government agency, the good news is we don't need to make a profit. So that doesn't mean we shouldn't be wise about how we spend our money, of course, but we are able to offer services to our cities at a vastly reduced rate from what the private sector is able to provide because we don't have to make a profit. Okay, and really we work in 3 areas. The first one is grants management, grant administration. The next one is the planning functions that we do, so comprehensive plan, zoning, all of those kinds of things. And then the last one is the transit system. Last, not because it isn't the very most important, by the way, Zach. And so what you'll see in here are actual projects and things that we've done specifically for the city of Clear Lake. The first one you'll see there is the housing units that have been constructed. We've done 13 of those. Combined total of them is a $3 million assessed value. That those were done with $1.3 million in grants, and the yield for that in terms of your what you receive in taxes is about $40,000 a year on those 13 units. You'll see a couple of you'll see a before and after on the left. That's an upper story unit in downtown Clear Lake. On the upper right, you'll see one of the 8 houses that were built after the floods of 2008. On the lower right, you'll see a home that was built as a group home for One Vision, and we provided funds from our home repair program, also known as our Housing Trust Fund. If you look down at the bottom there, one of the things that we really like to see with our Housing Trust Fund is that we make an impact on neighborhoods. Okay, so you'll see down there at the bottom what visually a home rehabbed can make in a neighborhood. On the left is the same house as on the right, believe it or not. They are the same home, but it just really brings up the neighborhood to be able to do those. You'll see a note there, and hopefully somebody's listening who's a construction contractor, because we need them desperately. We do at least, we've done as many as 90 homes in a year, so we need a lot of capacity in order to keep up with that kind of volume of work. And I do note a couple of things on the bottom right there. One is that a third of Clear Lake's housing was built before 1959, and 15% of it was built before indoor plumbing. So that means that there are things to repair, right? And that's what our home improvement program does. Our home repair program. On the next page there, you'll see a few examples of things that when we may do smaller projects too sometimes, but this is the kind of impact they can have. The 2 pictures on the left are before and after of an on-demand water heater system. Believe it or not, this lady did not have hot water for 15 years. And came to us for help. The next one, the middle one, I don't know if you can see her oxygen mask, but she just really needed central air in order to breathe in her home. Even had a grass allergy, so she couldn't open her windows. The one on the right, you'll see a separation between that stair tread and the bracketing on the right, and of course we just replaced her stairs. So sometimes it's, physically a very important hazard that's removed. Okay, so the next slide is really about how we stabilize our housing. That sometimes you'll see pictures on the left of a before and after in a roof. Those are not terribly exciting pictures, to be honest, but if you're getting water infiltration into a home, that home is not going to last very well. You'll see somewhat similar pictures on the right where that sill was really decaying because of water damage. We did quite a lot of work on her house actually here in Clear Lake. So what stabilization does in terms of the benefit to the city's tax base is simply to stabilize that housing so that the tax base, that assessed value, isn't reducing over time. And what we find is that when we make improvements to homes where they're visual from the outside, we often see that the neighboring homes will make improvements as well, kind of a keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing, instead of the opposite happening, which is, of course, that broken window theory, where if it's okay for that house to look like that, I'm not going to invest in mine because I'm still beside that kind of a home. So, okay, let's keep moving on. Steve told me don't be too windy. We're almost
No more
halfway
than
through.
an hour, right?
Less than an hour? Holy moly! I guess I'd
15
be even
minutes. I made it
faster.
15 minutes.
Okay, so the next one is just that as part of our regional planning, where we developed something called a comprehensive economic development strategy. It's for our whole region. But what we thought we needed, one of the things we thought we needed was to get people in contact with other people related to housing issues. So we put together the North Iowa Housing Conference, and really NIACOG is about convening partners together, right? About making a difference, not just by itself, but by working with other agencies as well. And with this effort, we had 21 different agencies involved, about 150 people attended, and we were able to bring developers together with cities, and literally had Clear Lake City staff meeting with developers at this conference. So, okay, let's keep moving on. Okay, the next one is just the work that we do. Chris Diggins actually is the one who coordinates the street funding for the region. And you'll see there a list of different streets that have been improved with that grant funding within the city of Clear Lake to the tune of about $3.6 million. On the next slide, you'll see some bike trails that have been given money in the form of grants at about $500,000. Boy, am I being fast now. Did you notice that? Just
You're
click,
moving
click,
right along.
click, moving right along. And then the item below that, it relates to business development. So we do have a revolving loan pool, and by the way, we have quite a bit of money in it right now. So if you know of businesses that want to expand, especially those that add jobs, I know that's kind of strange in today's market, and our region has twice as many job openings as it has people to fill them, unfortunately or fortunately. But we are open, we are able to do robotics projects. You know, we wouldn't want to, lose any labor positions, but if they have some that they're not able to fill, we would be able to do that kind of project. The maximum loan for that is $115,000. The other one we can loan up to $240,000. So we've done $365,000 in the form of 3 loans in Clear Lake, one to Iowa Powdercraft, one to the Farm and Home Publishers, and one to, Craft Distillery 173 Degrees, because they are manufacturing a product. So anyway, the local private investment on those projects total $2 million, so some sizable investment for the people who receive those funds. The next slide is about the other kinds of impact that we have that aren't so very tied to financing, but more to how we become stronger as a community in North Iowa. One of them is a service we just provide to cities and counties, the OSHA safety training for their workers. I understand that Clear Lake just signed up for that, so anyway. Happy to do that. Again, we're all about doing things efficiently, where if we bring things together, we can get a kind of a deal on the cost to do the training. The next one is the city clerks meetings. Then the newsletter, chock full of funding opportunities, training, the things that we're doing as NIACOG as well, firefighter grants, and then one of our big areas again is things like comprehensive plan, zoning, and codification. Something that isn't in this list, I guess, is grant writing, which we do a whole lot of grant writing, again, at a reduced rate. And then hazard mitigation plans are on there as well. So next section is about the partnerships. I spoke about that already just because I believe so much that we're able to get farther with the limited resources that we have if we do things together. So our 8 counties and 67 cities really are our partners in every sense of that word. One of the things that we do is we act as fiscal agent for a couple of organizations. One of them is the economic development organizations. It's called the North Central Iowa Alliance. Brings them all together, helps us to do that regional planning that I mentioned before, and strategically look at how to develop better as economic development. The next one listed there is that we are also the fiscal agent for the hazmat team. So that when businesses locate here or for people who live here, we have a mechanism in place that if there's a chemical spill, we're ready to go, and we have people trained and ready to do that. I already mentioned that. Okay. The United Way of North Central Iowa provides us the emergency funds where we do things like replacing water heaters and other things that are true emergencies in homes. The North Iowa planners meet quarterly. That's a way for us to get together to know better what's going on in a region and work together on things. Mike Ritter from Clear Lake participates in that group. I already mentioned the SEDS. The next one is the community partner meetings in the Housing Development Corporation. Steve Deers and I are both on those where we meet once a month just to, again, keep on the same page with how to improve and make things better. The community partners also has the North Iowa Housing Corridor. It has the schools, you know, so it's a really nice partnership of many people coming together. And then the last one there is the Habitat for Humanity. We started partnering with them when we found that we would have these old, clunky, really big, heavy ramps, and that we'd put on a home for somebody, and then they'd be like, "Hey, mom's in the nursing home," or "Grandma has passed away," or and what do we do with this thing now? So it was actually my predecessor, Joe Myrie, who had the idea to start using aluminum ramps that are pieced in components, and then work with Habitat, who has this team of people. We got a grant to buy a trailer to put those units in, and then Habitat moves them around as they're needed, and we buy the pieces with our home repair funds. Oh, okay. So Zach, you're up next. So the next slide is just that our transit system, it does give about 200,000 rides a year, and this quote here is something that we hear a lot. So I couldn't put one person's name on it, but without you guys, I would be homebound. We hear that a lot. I think I haven't ridden the bus a lot, but when I do, it's like a lot of people are going to work, believe it or not, and it's mostly handicapped and disabled. That's who we serve with our home repair program as well, but creating those good ties. Okay.
Oh, Myrtle. Don't worry, I don't have nearly as much to say as her. I'm just going to go through a couple numbers. She said my name is Zach. I'm the operations manager. I was sent here in lieu of from Kevin. We did 6,500 rides last year within Clear Lake alone. The white buses that you guys see drive around, which I'm pretty confident everybody sees daily, those are our buses. We have two right now in Clear Lake that are pretty much operating at all times. One of them serves Hancock County as well and splits his time between Hancock and Clear Lake. And I mean, we're just running all day long. And like she said, every weekly I have phone calls, good and bad, but a lot of the good ones are people telling me that they wouldn't know what to do without us. People going to dialysis, REM, she said we serve a lot of underprivileged and special needs people. REM, 43 North Iowa, adult daycare, dialysis are big ones, and anywhere else too. We do the city transit for Clear Lake, so we go anywhere in town. It's cheap, it's easy, it's door to door, so it's just a very essential service, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more. If you guys have any questions for me though about the service, We operate from about 7:30 to 4:30 in town. And anybody can ride. We try not to turn anybody away unless we absolutely can't accommodate it for that day for whatever reason. But yeah, we do our best to help everybody whenever we can, and we bring people to and from anywhere in the county we can travel to, but a lot of rides to and from Clear Lake and Mason City. So yeah. Oh yeah. So we are currently in the Pritchard's building at Team Quest Way. So we are going to actually consolidate down to. We have one employee that works there who does all the scheduling and everything for Clear Lake. So when she's gone, we route the phones and we do it from our office. So we're actually going to bring her over to our office and save some money there. That will save about $24,000 on your guys' end. And it's just going to be easier we'll be able to manage the exact same. No change to the service in Clear Lake. But yeah, it'll just be nice to have her there, and it'll save a lot of money, obviously, is the main reason we're doing that. So, yep.
All right. Thank you. Council questions, comments?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Myrtle and Zach. Appreciate it. Fire department report. Ed.
At this time, as I was appointed as chief, that opened up the position as a captain on the fire department. And so I'd like to invite Mike and Justin and their families to come up forward. And so we had a couple promotions. Promotions on the fire department aren't given out weekly. They're something that don't come along very often. And when they are, they're to people that are deserving of it. You know, they're dedicated people that show leadership and are respected by the other firefighters. And so Mike Easter has been a lieutenant. He's a 25-year member of the department right now. And so he is being promoted to captain. He's taking over my role. And so he's demonstrated the ability to do the job, and he's going to fit in. Justin Beckles has been a firefighter for, if you can believe it, almost 10 years. Do you know when 10 years is? Tomorrow. The third. So tomorrow will be 10 years. And so both these guys have demonstrated a great ability to lead and demonstrate the ability for guys to follow them and respect them. And so we're going to promote them. I'm going to give their badges. You know, it's a team sport, firefighting and volunteering especially. And so we wanted their families to be involved in the promotion because it takes the families behind them dedicated as well. So. We thought we'd do it like the Navy SEALs. And such a thing. She won. Yeah. Good. I can leave. Allison, boys, want to come clean that on your dad? So, please, we appreciate all you guys' support, staff, and council, mayor, and we'll keep doing a good job.
I can't come to a council meeting without saying something, you know that. I'm going to present Justin with his helmet as well. The tradition here at Clear Lake is our officers in red helmets or white helmets, and so I want to present him with his helmet. And the other thing is his wife makes a great cherry cheesecake.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mike and Justin. Appreciate your commitment to the fire department and all of our volunteers. All right, Chief of Police report.
First of all, congratulations to the firefighters. The promotions are well deserved, and I will echo what you said. We appreciate all the work that they do and their professionalism and their chosen line of work there. So we enjoy working with them when we get to. I think you all have the January monthly report sent out to you last week. There's a little bit of a format change in there. We just added a box on page 2 for the canine stats. We're going to keep track of the dog program stats, the life of the dog. So you'll see monthly stuff there, and then we'll total up through the life of the dog, or the life of the program there. So you'll see those stats of what that dog does throughout the program. So that's just a format change there. Everything else is pretty much the same through the newsletter there too. But if there's any questions that was in the newsletter, I'd love to answer them for you. And the only thing, if there's any questions, so the only thing I'd draw your attention to is page 1. If you look at it, I started 2 years ago, having a theme word for each year. 2025, our theme word was elevate for the department, and you'll see at the top of page 1 there that 2026 is sustain. We're going to sustain the training, sustain the goals that we've had for 2025 through 2026. So that's our theme word for 2026. I will thank Jacob for and the council for approving the amendments earlier this year. We had conversations last year, and I'd asked that if we could maybe move that up, separate from the budget portions, just because of that timing he talked about. It does help us with some of the amendments for equipments and replacements, some of the stuff that we have to order. If we order something in April, sometimes there's 2-3 months lead time on that, and we get it the next budget year, then we have those timing issues for our budget, so we have to redo the budget again. So I appreciate the council's openness to that, and Jacob making that happen for us as well. And the last thing I'll have for you is we sent 2 officers off today up to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, to go through a couple-day training program to become taser instructors. So Detective O'Keefe and Officer Lopez will go through instructor certification this week, and then through that contract to get approved with Axon for our taser program. We haven't set a date yet, but sometime in the next month or 2, we'll have one of the representatives come here, and we'll be able to get 5 officers certified in the VR training set, which also includes some de-escalation training and some scenario-based training too. So we'll be able to take some state-of-the-art training for the officers here, and de-escalation, some other skill sets that are very important to us too. And the nice part about that is it comes with 2 VR sets, so you can interact with the person you're training with back and forth, plus with the characters in the VR simulation there. And then we're going to invite Mason City over to go with that training with us, and they have some sets there too. So we're hoping to be able to combine the training with those agencies as well, and have some large group VR training and some scenarios that we wouldn't be able to replicate in person without having a lot bigger training budget to be able to do too. So I think that's a good thing that we approved last time, and look forward to getting everybody trained up on that and start using it this year. Any questions?
All right. Thanks, Chief. Pretty empty over there. Public Works. Nope. Engineer, nope. Jacob.
City engineer report, if you'd like to hear it.
I'm coming to you. Or do you, yeah, go ahead.
All right, well, speaking for Matt, I asked Matt if we could share the news, and as most of you probably know, Matt and his wife Emily had their 3rd child this last Friday, and they had a little boy. Told him I needed stats. Sawyer Lane is his name, and he was born at 20 inches long and 8.2 pounds, and the pictures all look like a healthy baby boy. So I asked if we could share that, and he said of course. So I wanted to let you know what he's been up to.
All right, Jacob, nothing. All right, Mayor's report. Stacy, Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce CEO.
Mayor and Council, welcome Deb. This is my first council meeting while you're here, so nice to have you on board. I don't have a long update. I was just going to let you know that on March 18th, we'll be taking a trip to the Capitol. It's North Iowa Day on the Hill. We go with partner organizations, so we'll go with Mason City, the EDC, and we'll take over the Rotunda, and we'll share what we've got going on up here in North Iowa and just keep our legislators remembering us up here. We're also going to be taking our Lake Leadership class with us, so they'll get the chance to do the Capitol tour and also hear from IEDA and the Association for Business and Industry and our U.S. Midwest Chamber representatives. So that'll be a fun addition to our Lake Leadership program. That's all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. That's it. Steve Deers, City Administrator.
Yeah, so just a couple things. So community project funding, that grant was due on Friday. We made an application for that. That is the grant through Ashley Hinson's office, and you can do a various amounts of different types of community projects based on various pots of funding that are available. One of them that stood out to us was for roadway infrastructure and housing. And so we applied for a grant to basically install a road that would go in between the hidden acres out there by One Vision. I know we initially talked that that entire road and water and sewer extension will cost about $6 million, and that we do a 20% match of that. But before we let Matt go on Thursday, he tightened those numbers down, looked through it, and we're actually looking at something closer to 4.5 total. So our 20% of that be about 900,000. So that makes it about a $3.6 million grant application, which seems to be more in line with some of the larger awards they give. So I think it gives us a better shot there from that application. We should hear back on that in the next month or two about whether they see our project as being valued and moving forward. Ultimately, we'll find out when the federal government approves it this fall, which can be a chore sometimes. So we'll see what happens, but I'm feeling really good about that application. Lots of good letters of support on that, so that was great. We also got our build grant applied for, which is the 4th Avenue reconstruction project. Our engineering partners with SEH did the actual grant application and submission, and so we collected information on that, got that applied for as well. That's a $13 million project. As you recall, we applied for 100% of the funding on that, so that is off and running too, to see where we might come in on that one. Legislative Day, we've got it coming up for Lake Leadership. Jacob and I both get to be part of that with the chamber. I'm also going to be at Legislative Day on Wednesday in a city administrator capacity. It's our annual day to go down there, so I'll be heading down to Des Moines tomorrow night and starting bright and early about 7 o'clock on Wednesday to talk with our legislators and lobby for local communities. In other good news, we had our new watershed coordinator start today as well. His name's Adam Sears, and he was the Floyd County Conservation Director, and he is has come over and has started here with us today, and he's off and running. We actually have a watershed Winnebago Coalition meeting on Thursday, and then the Association for the Preservation of Clear Lake has their monthly meeting on Thursday. So we've got a full week for him lined up, and he's off and running, and we're excited to have him here. So that's all for me.
All right. Questions, Steve? No? Anything else